Okay, hi Tabitha, this is Jade, and I'm just going to be doing your reading here. So the reading, so I'm not gonna, I hope you don't mind, I'm not gonna use the mental health tarot spread that is in the intuitive study group for this reading. And because instead I was looking back at the text messages. I'm sorry this has taken so long to get to you. It's been a really rough couple of weeks and bad migraines. So in any case, I feel kind of called to do is to do a reading for you concerning your social life and romantic life. Okay, and the spread that I'm going to use is from Dusty White's The Easiest Way to Learn the Tarot Ever. And this spread, just pulling it out here, this spread is called the Roundabout Spread. Or it is a manifestation spread, so how to get to what you want. So this actually defines a map of how to get where you want, to be from where you are now. Sorry, I can't read my own writing. I will send you, this is what the spread is going to look like, and I'll send you a copy of that so that you're not having to write all of these down. But there are 13 cards in the spread. So the first one is in the center, and it is the significator. So significator card, which is about what you want to get out of things. And for you, I've gone through and chosen the Ace of Cups as that significator because I want to focus on manifesting some relationships, right? So manifesting, how do you manifest some relationships, both, friendships and perhaps of the romantic sort as well. So that is why I've chosen this card for you rather than a card like the Two of Cups or Three of Cups. So let's go. So the first thing, I'm just going to move this out of the way for a second, and I'm going to shuffle the cards. As I said, there's going to be 12 additional cards that we're pulling here. So the first one is what is important to you. So the here and now, in other words. The second one is what you have or own or know already. Apparently I'm having trouble today with the shuffling. The third one is what needs to change. The fourth is your secret support or reserve, or in other words, what drives you. What you need to have the courage to do to get the results you want. And sixth is the details you have to address now, possibly things that you are avoiding. My shuffling is terrible today. Seventh is other people and what's important to them. Eighth represents, oh my goodness, secrets. So what you don't know or is hidden from you. The next one will be your hopes and dreams. The 10th card will be the end results. So what will happen if you take correct action. The 11th represents how other people will react when you do. And the last card is secret enemies. So sacrifices that you might be called to make. Okay. So there's our significator card, because again, this reading is about relationships. So how do you manifest some relationships? And that could be both. Yeah, so that could be both, right? Just platonic relationships or romantic relationships. The first card is the here and now. So what is important to you? Is the Ten of Swords. So what I'm going to do is I'll just lay them out, and then I will raise them up so that you can see them. I am, by the way, using the Mermaid Tarot. Okay, by Lisa Robertson, I believe.
Second card is what you have, like what you have already or you know already about relationships. What needs to change? your secret support or reserve. So what is driving you? Sorry, I keep getting these upside down. I don't read reversals, by the way. I was actually just turning those upside down. What you need to have the courage to do to get the results you want. Details you have to address now, possibly things you are avoiding. I'm going to need a bigger table. So other people, so what's important to other people in your life? Secrets, so what you don't know or is hidden from you. Your hopes and dreams. The end result, so what will happen if you take correct action. I'm sorry if you can hear my kid on the PlayStation, by the way. I've yelled at him a number of times to pipe down, but okay, the next card is how other people will react when you do. And finally, secret enemies or sacrifices you may be called to make.
Okay, so I will pick each one up as we go and raise it up, because I apologize for the not having enough space here. Okay, so the first card really represents the situation at face value. Sorry, I'm just gonna put my book here. Okay, so the situation at face value, so we have the Ten of Swords. Actually, if you don't mind, what I'm gonna do, I really apologize for this. I'm just going to lay these out differently, keeping them in order. Significator card I'm gonna put right there. Okay, so the first card is the Ten of Swords. Now I can do this. Okay. What a disaster. I'm sorry. Okay, so the first card is what is important to you. So the here and now, the current situation. So the current situation, I mean, you've described it that your romantic life and your social life are close to zero, or they're not, they're not very active at the moment. Things are pretty passive. And, as you can see here, he's sort of down, obviously bleeding out from the 10 swords, but at the same time, that's just his physical body, right? His spirit is rising up and moving away from what has ended. So the current, at face value, this seems to tie in with what the concern is. So perhaps you have had relationships that have just ended, and perhaps ended badly. You both in the platonic sense as well as romantically, and you were down for a long time perhaps, but you're ready to do something about it, and you're recognizing that just because a relationship ended doesn't mean that's the end for you. So current situation, things look pretty stark, but things are also looking up, right? So we've ended some bad relationships perhaps, and we're recognizing that wasn't the end. Okay. The next card is card 2 is what you have or you know already. Or in other words, this can also be what you think that you have to work with. What you know already, habits you need to develop, steps you need to take to get what you want. So this is your platform or your base of opinions and operations. This can also indicate your strong points. So make sure that you're not taking things for granted or ignoring their potential value. So when we look, this is the Three of Pentacles. And I'm just going to raise it up so that we can look at it a little bit closer. So what do you have right now? What you have right now, like to me, she seems very, she seems quite peaceful, at ease with herself. She does have plates full of, I don't know what kind of flowers those are, maybe lilies. Lilies or lotuses, I'm not sure. But there's plenty of plates on them. And to me, it looks like you do have some people around you who care about you and who want to help. So you have budding relationships around you, as well as some established ones that perhaps you're not fully investing in at the moment for some reason, but you know, they can certainly be a good starting point for you. They're in your court, or they could be in your court if you open up a little bit more to them and allow them to do that. I think you are a generous person. She's obviously, you know, sharing her abundance with others, and that's an important quality as well to have. As you make a plan for improving your relationships, both new and existing. Okay. Sorry, I just put that right there. The next card is what needs to be said, changes you need to make to get what you want, alternative ways to get where you want to be. And this card is the Moon. So the setting right now, your circumstances are dynamic. You know, this card is meant to show what is unstable in your life or what you need to change to get where you want to be. Occasionally it'll show you ideas instead of current actualities. So I was just reading from the little booklet there what this card is. It can also be what you need to get off your chest, what you need to say to somebody, or who you need to address regarding the question. It can reveal beliefs and attitudes that need to be changed, or new ones that need to be assumed in order to reach your goal. Due to all the numerous variations possible here, compare the card's message to the rest of the spread, and be sure to get additional info from your client if you need it. Okay, so both in terms of the situation and your expression, this card really tells me that right now there's something going on between your conscious and your subconscious mind. Perhaps they're not completely at ease with each other, and she's breathing in and out, obviously, and perhaps singing, judging by all the music notes. And I feel like this card, I'm just intuitively, I think this card is telling me that you need to open up more to people. Perhaps you have been hurt badly in the past, and so all that's weighing on you down in your subconscious mind. Perhaps your inner child has been hurt badly, and so you're not really recognizing things for what they are. Perhaps you're not recognizing the people in your life that you could improve relationships with, or who desire a relationship with you for. And I think this is just saying perhaps you need to be a little bit more vulnerable. You need to recognize that things are not necessarily as they seem. Be more vocal, open up to people, and see how see how that changes the situation for you. So what needs to change, right? So what needs to be, what changes you need to make in order to get what you want, which is some additional relationships or better relationships, deeper relationships. And I think this really speaks to me of getting your conscious and your subconscious mind in line first, and once they're aligned, to be more open, allow yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable. Perhaps that means again, and that might be the stimulus that's required. Card 4, your secret weapon or allies. Okay, sorry, an interruption there. Where were we? We were on card 4, which represents your secret weapon or your allies. So this could be a safe place or safe haven. The key points are security, privacy, and familiarity. Sometimes the best motivators, as you probably know, are fear and or pain. We don't have to like what drives us forward, but we can always use it. This is what, in other words, this is what keeps you going, what drives you. This card that I pulled for this position is the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, they're clearly expecting a baby. They've got the pentacles here on the, what do you call that thing? It spins around and around. Sorry, my words are missing. And they're already preparing ahead of time. So I think, what keeps you going is the thought that, and the sunlight is coming through. There's obviously a couple, they're very happy, and I think, so what keeps you going, it seems to me, what I'm thinking based on this card that I've pulled, is the thought that you will eventually be in a much better position in your life, both with your own mental health and physical health, your friends and family. You'll be in a better spot than you are right now. You are taking steps to plant the seeds for things. So I know that you've mentioned that you are going to school, even though that's, the coronavirus has sort of put a bit of a stop to their deferral on that, perhaps, or postponement on that. But you're taking steps to get to a better spot in your life, planting those seeds for the future, and I think that's really important. And so the work, the potential future work, seeds that you're planting by doing your studying, and getting more in touch with your mental and emotional health, your subconscious, and being more open, I think, are going to be really important. Those are all really important things to put into motion to get to where you want. Okay, I'm hoping that this makes some sort of sense. So card 5 is how to get support for your cause. Again, the cause being, how do we improve the relationships that we have, make them stronger, and more abundant in terms of number, perhaps even a romantic one. And so how to get support for this. So this could be, this card could represent also, by the way, demons that you have to face down or challenges you need to attempt in order to get the help and recognition that you need from others. It shows the risks that you're willing to take and the grand dreams that you have. But these are things that you still need to do. So I feel like you're your dreams, you have the world, and your dreams represent the world, right? So that stable, emotional, mental, and physical family life, all of that, all of those dreams that you have, are represented in this world here. And you're holding it like a little bubble. You definitely have to recognize that there's a lot of work needed to get there. You've definitely planted the seeds, but you're not done yet. And I think that how to make it happen is to not put that preconceived notion that you might have in a little bubble. So like this world is actually in a little bubble, because then it can never change, it can never grow, it can never be revised, right? So I think it's just recognize that, whatever dream you have, things need to still stay fluid. You may take multiple paths to get there. You may need to adjust what that final world looks like as you go, and that will really help you to make sure that when you finally get there, it's something that looks the way that you need it to look, not like some notion that you had 5 years ago that just makes no sense anymore for you, and you wouldn't like anyway. The next card is card 6 represents details to address now. So this is the Temperance card, and the Temperance card represents the things that you're avoiding or ignoring, or perhaps even outsourced, hoping that somebody else will do them. So there are things that you need to stop it, address the matters now, and move on. So things you've been ignoring, it's time to tighten the belt. Burn some midnight oil, like no matter what the cause is. This is the devil, and these are the things you need to stop avoiding and actually just go ahead and do, or you need to do more and do them better. So this is the Temperance card. She's got two conchas, two shells that are, there's some mix that's going from one to the other. It looks like there's an eclipse behind her, and to me, there's a fine balance to alchemy, right? There's a fine balance to sunlight and shadow. And I feel like this says you have been ignoring your emotional well-being for the plan that you've got. Not taking as much care of yourself as you should. Perhaps you've been working so hard at school and work and not taking the time you need to heal emotionally, and to adjust what drives you, to see where the things in your life still make sense. Every once in a while, we need to stop and decide to let some things overflow and go away from our life, and make some adjustments and bring in some other things that will serve us better instead. Okay, so card 7. Other people's feelings and or thoughts. So this can be other people that are pressuring you, or they're being directly affected by the situation, or it can be the opinions of them. This illustrates what's most important at this time. Okay, so the actual people involved, their attitudes or their actions. It's how you are affecting them, or it could be how other people are affecting you. And I feel, so this is the 8 of Cups, and to me what this is saying is that perhaps you have some people in your life, or some situations in your life that you are choosing to let go. Perhaps you know, they don't fit in the vision that you have of where you want your life to be or your relationships to be. And so you're letting them go. And I think, you know, this person doesn't look super happy. The waves in front of her are churning. And again, I'm sorry for my kid yelling. So, you know, I guess this is saying that you need to kind of, you know, again, it represents what other people's thoughts are. She's walking away kind of sad. So to me, it looks like, anyways, based on her posture. And if this represents you, this also looks like sadness to me. And it can be a good, so letting the relationship go can be a good thing or a bad thing for you in this particular case. But just, I guess the advice is to think carefully about what is important, whether you think you're letting somebody go because they don't really care, and this kind of tells me that they actually really do, but they're not sure what to do. So they're being affected by, perhaps you're being just way too closed off. This person isn't even looking at the person who's walking away. So going back to the earlier card about being a little bit, the moon card, but being a little bit more open and vulnerable, perhaps this is, you know, because you're not allowing yourself to do that, other people are thinking that you're not interested, or you don't care, and are choosing to, and you know, so the relationship is not improving. It's actually, things are becoming more distant. Okay, so card 8 represents secrets to uncover to succeed. Okay, so this is the 9 of Wands. So this can represent the things you need to find out. So there are secrets being held from you, or you need certain information to make progress or a decision. This card points to what this information might be, or who is guarding it. You may have to do, okay. So what is the hidden info and who is guarding it? What do you need to find out? So this is the 9 of Wands, and so he's I was gonna say walking around, obviously swimming around the edge of this volcano. There's another volcano behind there, and he's planting what these, I don't know, fireballs are to light the path, to continue to light the path. And so perhaps those little, you know, these sticks with these fireballs represent what is being hidden from you, is, you know, is the actual path. So you're not able to see your way to your final goal just yet. And part of that is due to some information that you don't have. Information that you don't have, to me, it seems like it would be related to work, or to your studies. Oops, sorry. Information you don't have about other people. Perhaps you think that some people are not interested in you, or not compatible with you for whatever reason, and you don't actually have all the information about them to make that decision, or to make that final determination, or you have some assumptions that you haven't been able to clear to reveal actually how they actually feel about you, for example, because you don't have all the information about them and what drives them, what makes them happy, what might you have in common with them. Yeah. Okay. I'm hoping that some of this makes sense and resonates in some way. This is the first time I'm doing this spread, so I apologize if it's not, it's a little bit choppy, but definitely stretching my card reading abilities, that's for sure. So card 9. This represents hopes, dreams, and goals and contingency plans. So what you're hoping to come about, your personal goals, your grand ideas, your ideals. And this is another major arcana card. It is the Judgment card. So what you're hoping to come about is that you'll have that you have all these people here in bubbles. Some of them are emerging. I don't know if they're bubbles or eggs, but anyway, they're emerging, and to me, it looks like this is supposed to be a clarion call, right? And all these people are going to follow, like kind of like the piper, right? The piper and the mice, maybe. I don't know. So perhaps what you're hoping to come about is that you will have you'll perhaps what you're hoping to come about is that you'll have a bigger resource of relationships to draw from, so that when you do put out a call, or you are struggling in some manner, you'll have more people to lean on, more people to help you, more people to look after, more people to nurture yourself, more relationships, I should say, to nurture yourself, and hopefully find in one of those people someone that you really resonate with, and perhaps could turn into a romantic relationship. Okay. All right. Card 10 is the end results. So what will happen if you take correct action? So this is what will happen if the client follows the advice of the spread. Or as an expression of you, it's the book says, congratulations, you've made it. Okay, so this card, I'm sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water here. This card I pulled for you is the High Priestess. And this says to me, so the High Priestess, so what will happen if you follow the advice of the spread? And so far the advice we've gotten is to recognize that things are not, are not the end, and move forward with that, make plans. We've gotten advice to look to the people around us and really count our blessings. Count our blessings and recognize that perhaps some of the relationships that are around us, maybe we're super superficial and very small, but they can certainly, they have potential to grow and to expand. We have the advice. I see advice in each of these cards, so which is why I'm going through them. The advice of this card to me was about like putting in some work to connect your inner world with your outer world, and that it's okay to show some vulnerability. It's okay to ask for help, be vocal. If we do that, then others feel more comfortable being more vulnerable with us, and our relationships grow as a result. Keep planting those seeds for the future. Keep making those plans. just make sure that when you make those plans, that it's not something that's completely fixed, right? Be flexible and allow changes to be made. Don't put that, whatever that vision is, up on a pedestal. It's, you know, it's great to have a goal. Just make sure that you allow yourself to make changes as needed to the vision, to make sure that the final outcome is something that can support you and that you actually want. Make sure we're including some self-care in whatever happens. Okay, we need to make sure that we're not just focused on work. We're not just focused on the future and ignoring the current situation, our current health. Ensuring that we're taking a second look at our relationships, the relationships that we have that we think aren't going anywhere or are stagnant, or relationships that, you know, perhaps are a little bit distant, perhaps aren't as close as we'd like them, and for no other reason than it's just our own brain saying, you know, this person really doesn't like me, or whatever it is. Just carefully, you know, being open goes back to that, being open and honest with ourselves and them. Speaking to the assumptions that we're making, again, in terms of our relationships and our creativity and our passions. We can't see, you know, so this card represented the secret, so we can't see our way completely yet to the top of the volcano. You know, if we consider the volcano like the ultimate expression of passion, of creativity, of love, of, you know, all kinds of relationships, we can't see our way there just yet, because we're not seeing people for who they truly are for some reason. So we need to think about how to do that. Doing so might well, you know, could get us to where we, you know, what will happen if we follow all of this advice. This was the what will happen card as a result of you're following the advice of the spread, how others will react, and general consensus. And you will cultivate many relationships, both existing ones that perhaps have just been sort of stale or distant, that we've kept because of assumptions on both sides, but you'll certainly pave the way for making huge improvements. Yeah. Okay, so card 11 is card 11 is the King of Pentacles. And this represents what will happen as a result of your results. So what will happen as a result of achieving your result, of nurturing your existing relationships so that they flourish and grow, and getting new relationships, and perhaps in doing so, one of those relationships actually becomes a romantic one. What will happen? How others will react, and general consensus. So this is kind of a peek into the future to see what will happen after we do everything right and get those results of the High Priestess. So we get to see the consequences of our actions before we complete them, which is pretty invaluable. And this is what you will have to deal with at the end of the day. And this is the King of Pentacles. And if you look at him closely, you'll see that he looks pretty unfazed, right? He looks serious, like he's looking straight at you. He's not, you know, he's being pretty, I keep coming back to serious, but he's pretty unfazed. He's got a big ass ring on his hand. He knows his worth. Look how much it's shining. Anyways, he knows his worth. He knows what is going on and how to maintain his emotional calm amidst all the crazy churning waters. So remember, we had some churning water down here where there might be some challenges in some relationships, some ups and downs. You know, passion can lead to sort of both. And he sees it, he recognizes it, and he's able to deal with it without losing his own emotional turmoil, without being in emotional turmoil himself, so without taking that onto himself. And so a peek at that is, you know, follow all this advice. What will happen is not only will you achieve what you're trying to achieve, but you're going to be better. Your own emotional well-being and mental well-being will be better as a result as well, because you're going to learn some significant lessons in here, right? Especially if you're dealing with some past trauma that's preventing you from, until now, has been preventing you from following some of the advice and letting yourself be open and vulnerable to some people, and letting them do the same in return, right? Working on that inner child, inner trauma, past trauma that you've had will get you to a spot where you're in a much more stable position, much better position to be able to handle the ups and downs of most relationships. Okay, so it was card 11. Card 12 is the Five of Wands, and the Five of Wands represents your secret enemies or sacrifices that you may be called to make, or obstacles. So this is the devil that you don't know, okay, as opposed to the devil that you knew earlier. So what's revealed here is anything that is standing in your way that has not been addressed already. So often this will be something internal, but it could be a false friend plotting against you to steal your money or your relationships, or your ideas, or somebody who's working against you. That could be your own self as well. If you have if you've been self-deceiving yourself, or you've been lazy, or developed bad habits, or you have a secret wish to fail, but or it can reinforce fears that you already have. So the good news here is that if we've interpreted things correctly, then this card will point out exactly what needs to be gotten rid of so that you can make progress. So the Five of Wands, so there's some challenge out here which we can't see, but if we look at all of them, they'll have some pretty serious, determined faces on them. They're all facing in the same direction, so they're facing a common enemy. The fact that they're, that it is wands that they're holding, and these are, fire, essentially, makes me think that this is something, there's something about your work relationships that is being challenging you. And perhaps it is, perhaps there are people at work that are actively working against you and making things more challenging than they need to be, especially in this pandemic situation. And you need to deal with them in some way. Perhaps not by yourself. Perhaps you enlist the advice of some other friends or colleagues, as to how to put whatever fire they're causing, whatever disruption they're causing, to put it out so that you can move forward and perhaps improve relationships with other people. So perhaps if this challenge represents another person, perhaps at work, then perhaps they're turning people against you for some reason or another, or perhaps they feel threatened by you. And your challenge is going to be, how do you deal with that minimize, clear up the situation so that you can move forward with your wish to improve relationships with other people, to grow more personal and more deeply satisfying relationships. So that was card 12, and that was the final card. So I hope that this resonated with you. I kind of did a summary earlier when I got to this one in terms of the advice, but I would love to hear, this was the first time I'm doing this spread. I found it really interesting. I want to do it for myself as well. I hope that it resonated in some way with you. I would love to hear your detailed feedback as to what I got right, what I didn't get right, what I sort of went off the rails on, or what I could improve in any part of this reading, because that's how I will grow as a reader. So, like I said, thank you very much for letting me read for you. Thank you for watching this really long video with all the interruptions and my children in the way. But I appreciate your time, and I look forward to your feedback. So thanks very much. Bye.